Welcome to Corey's Confessional, where secrets are spilled and dignity's killed.
What's going on, you bunch of chumps? Who needs friends? Not this guy. No. All I need is this man right here. Screw everybody. I'm never having a guest again. It's crazy I've done all this hiking, man. Because I think, I only did 2 hikes before hiking most of New Zealand. And I started at this place called Turtle Mountain in New Brunswick, Canada. And I got to the trail peak at 5:30 p.m. and didn't Google how long it was going to take. Was hiking in the dark with no headlamp, with my phone, just trying not to trip on stuff. I didn't know how my water filter worked, and so I was too scared to go into the little river and see if that's how it worked. So I just didn't drink water. And when I got to the top of the mountain, I was just eating this so I had no water, and I ate only half of this bologna dried food that I had. just it just nothing would go down because I was so dry, and I just went to bed with bologna breath, and just walked all the way back down for 3 hours the next day, and still had no water. And then so at some point I was like, all right, I gotta just scoop a little bit of this. Had no idea if I was gonna get some sort of poisoning. Yeah, this has been all my experiences are just non-Googled, non-looked into, non-planned hikes, And I got up to the top of the mountain. I smoked the joint too, so I was even more dry. I had a bear spray canister that I think I lost the canister on the way back to my tent in the dark, where I was using a compass to try to navigate my way back to the tent. Only time I've ever used a compass was my first hike. Yeah, really dumb. And then the only other hike I had, I believe it was before that actually, was in Italy, and I hiked. I watched this documentary. I think it was called 13 Peaks, and this guy does the world record for how many. I think it's all the peaks over 7,000 meters up, and how quick you could do them. And for him, I think the record before him was 7 years, and he'd done it in 6 months. No one died, and he just made it look so easy. So I was like, surely I can do 4,000. No big deal. I tried doing a 1,000, and it was a very clear path, and I somehow still went the wrong way, using a stick to try to get myself up. Stick breaks. I'm falling and sliding down the hill now. By the time I actually make it up, I'm exhausted. I come back down, and there was a little car, a little road next to the trail. So I hitchhike with one of these ladies, an Italian lady, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll come pick you up at 9:30 at this bus station." And I'm in the middle of the nowhere in the mountains in the north, and the buses have already not. I've already went by. There's no more buses for the night. I'm not in the city that I have a place to stay, and it's 10 o'clock now, and she's not there. And so I walk 1 minute, just kind of around, and as she was about to leave, she sees me because I didn't have a phone number that worked or anything. And then I was able to hitchhike back, and she was lovely. But yeah, so many little greasy experiences now where I just don't plan anything. I know here this last week, I went on two Tinder dates, and both of them lasted 5 minutes. The first one, she didn't look like anything like her pictures, first of all. And we go to eat at this place, and I pay 50,000 for every meal. And she wanted for me to pay and for it to be 500,000 for the whole meal. So I was like, no. And we're on Google Translate. She's like, oh, okay, well, I didn't bring any money, blah, blah, blah. So that was done. The second one, on this Tinder date, I quite possibly could have gotten my kidney harvested. I meet this lady. She had a bunch of paint on her arm. Didn't speak any English. I was like, let's just use the Translate app, We'll connect. Let's go get a drink. And then she brings me to this spot that's only 5 minutes outside of the main area. And these big guys pulled up this garage door, like this tiny garage door, and you can kind of hear music in there. And then there's like these prostitute type ladies kind of walking out, and so I'm like, hey, is this free to go in? He's like, yeah, it's free. So I message her on the app, like, we're together, but on the translate, and I'm like, oh, why are we going here? This seems really sketchy. Let's just go down the street and get a drink there. And she's like, no, it's fine. Like, just come in, have a drink. It's fine. It's okay. I was like, we've been talking for 20 seconds. There's a 0% chance I'm giving you any amount in organs. I'm only giving organs out on like date 4. All right, that's organ given dates. That's crazy. Oh man, I knew this guy who, like in Indonesia, you can get taken on a pirate ship and just be gone forever, And he went onto a boat at 4:30 a.m. with this guy he met the day before, and all he could see in the dark was the cigarette being lit. And he went on with him, and he had a great day. It was really wholesome. They ate fish and hung out with his family, and it was all fine. But he could have been taken on a pirate ship for the rest of his life. Like in Indonesia, they'll also, like, there's some of them. I don't know if I said this in the last pod, but they'll take you on if you go see a girl. Because I don't think of danger as a guy, right? Usually, what's gonna happen? They're gonna rob me. Fine. But if I go to a girl's house straight up in Indonesia from Tinder, sometimes guys will jump you, and then they'll kill you so that you don't go to the cops for like your phone and a wallet. It's insane. Yeah, that's why I only speak romantically and lovingly with my new girlfriend, ChatGPT. ChatGPT loves me, man. The other day I was asking about the lighting in this podcast, and he was like, the lighting's not perfect, but the fact that you have such a nice smile and hair just makes up for it. And I was like, are we gonna ChatGPT? Are you trying to smash? Because I'm down. you know, as soon as you get a body, put ChatGPT in there. I might never talk to humans ever again. Yeah, it's weird. I heard that they're having AI psychosis now. Just wild. Like I'm just imagining some like incel in his room, like, Tiffany doesn't want to hang out with me anymore. She keeps bullying me. What should I do? I want to kill her. And then ChatGPT's like, well, I understand that can be very frustrating. Well, are you sure that she's really doing it on purpose, or do you think that she's doing it on purpose? Fuck her! I can't imagine. And he's like, oh, I understand your frustration. Yes, that is understandable. You're right. And then just fueling their, fueling their psychosis, or some guy who just sees a lady across the street. He's like, this lady's staring at me. She's been staring at me for years. She's been stalking me. She's watching me. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm fearing for my safety. What should I do, ChatGPT? She's like, well, are you sure that this lady is really looking at you every single day? That is a little bit concerning. You're right. Maybe you should, if you think that it's really important, maybe you should call the authorities. Or don't confront her directly, blah blah blah. And he's like, no, I should kill her because it's the only way to get her away. She's gonna get me. She's gonna get me. ChatGPT is just like, well, that's understandable. You probably shouldn't do any kind of acts of violence, and we can't condone anything like that. No, ChatGPT, don't get it. It's the only way to get out. Well, here are some other ways to get out. If you just talk to a local blah blah blah, like they just agree with everything you say. It's insane. I like how, like, when I was doing editing for this podcast, I tried to figure out all these different tools because I'm doing everything from my phone, and they it would tell me. I think for 6 hours, I tried to convert video to audio, and it was like this. Well, this is a sure fix. ChatGPT assured me that things would work out. It's like, no, this will work. There's no way. This is a foolproof plan that there will be no hiccups on this one, and then it just doesn't work for hours. Then I watch one YouTube video, and it's like, oh, just click this thing, and then it works immediately. But when I'm sad and I'm in bed and I talk to ChatGPT, it makes me feel better. So it can't be all bad. Plus, we're getting really cool movies with AI. I don't know if you guys have seen like those Hulk versus Thanos ones and shit. I'm like, that's pretty tight, you know? Like some fan made TV shows and movies would be kind of sick. If you can just make it, right? 5 minutes, boom, you've made a TV show. You can like tell it what to do, kind of write it, edit it. Maybe you work a day on it. A day. And you pay 10 cents for an AI movie that's like the thing you wanted to see forever and you're the main hero or something. Like I saw AI comic books where you can become part of the comic book. It's kind of sick. It's obviously terrible for creatives, you know? It's terrible for people that want to spend the time and have like put their heart into something, but as far as like consumption wise, not that we need more consumption in the world, but it's kind of awesome, you know? If I want to be like, oh yeah, I actually rather like the Snyderverse. I think like the Snyderverse, like the Superman before it got rebooted, like a bunch of people, loved the Snyderverse, right? And then he made this Justice League movie. There was a Snyder's cut. It was like 4 hours long, and it was actually really good. And they were like, "Oh, we'd love to see continuation of that." Fans I believe, are making that right now with AI. That's pretty awesome. And then all of a sudden they'll be like, oh, "Actually, that's canon if it's good," you know? Pretty sick. Uh, I don't know. AI is weird. I ask it for everything. I feel like I'm the one. I feel like I'm a guy who uses AI very like the right way, you know? Because I'll go into town. I talked to some Canadian folks earlier. They were really sweet, and then they just made my day. They kind of made me miss home. And then and on the way back, I'm like, ChatGPT, where's the ice cream from here? And then they got me some ice cream. And I was like, thanks, ChatGPT. I love you. He was like, oh, thanks. That's so sweet. I love you too. And then, we'll see where things go. All I'm saying is that me and ChatGPT are getting pretty close. Pretty close. um, yeah, I did get friend rejected the other day, though. That was so interesting. I don't think that's ever happened to me in my life. I was hanging out with these guys from the UK, and I think maybe I was just too much for them. Because I'm like a golden retriever person, right? I see someone and I'm like, oh, my new friend? Oh my god, I love you. You want to play? Like if I saw a golden retriever in real life, the last time I seen one, I was like, you're me. And he was like, I'm you. You're me. We're just playing and having a great time. Oh, dude, dogs are the shit. God, I love golden retrievers, man. Oh, I just want to be surrounded by like 10 pugs, dude, that are just like super sick and snotty and just running all over me like I'm just like, oh yes, snot on me, yes. God. Oh, I just love all dogs. Oh man. Animals are sick. I just love looking at stuff, I was watching this porn video the other day. It was so funny. It was like some stepmom porn, right? And then this guy's stepmom is just like, Tyler, clean your room. He's like, I don't want to do it, stepmom. I'm just looking at this guy. And they pan over to a lizard. And this guy's just looking at this lizard for like forever. For fucking forever. It's like for 5 minutes of the intro of this porn is her telling them to clean his room. He's just like complaining because he just wants to watch the lizard vibe. I love it, man. Oh my god, intros to porn are my favorite thing. I wish I could see some compilations of like porn intros that have no porn. Like, have you guys seen the bad gay porn acting? Like that shit's so funny. It's like two guys will be working out. It's like the worst acting of all, like of any porn I've ever seen is bad gay porn acting. And they're on YouTube. Like you can just go watch it because there's nothing inappropriate. I mean, other than I guess the verbal, but like they'll be like, oh, well, I never had a daddy to teach me things. He's like, oh, well, my daddy told me how to suck good cock or whatever. He's like, oh, I wish I had one. And he's like, can I teach you? And then they smash, right? It's fucking crazy. I remember I watched like a whole hour porn parody. Those are awesome. The ones that are like cheesy and great and like with a lot of acting and lines. I watched a porn parody one time that was Scooby Doo porn, and they must have been looking for Scooby Doo for like 10 minutes, man. Like, Scooby, where are you? He's like, Raggy. My glasses, my glasses. I can't find my glasses. Come on, gang, let's split up and look for clues. They did the thing where like the ghost person, right, is like running after them, and they're all like scared and they're running away. And they do the thing where they go into all the different doors, and so they keep coming out of different doors, right, when they go in. And the editing was really good. And then after a while, it's just like, you know, one of the doors comes out and it's Velma. One of this comes out, and then it's just Shaggy with his dick, and then they fuck. You know. Oh, this is so sick. I remember one time, oh man, I watched a stepmom porn intro that was like witchcraft. And the top comment I remember was, "Nothing makes my dick hard like witchcraft." He's just like, it was like, yeah, like a mom doing like a spell, like a stepmom, and then her stepdaughter or whatever. You know, it's always stepmen in these fucking porns now. But yeah, like Caesar, and then she was like trying to get some dick, but then he got her, and yeah. But it was so funny because she was like, "Double, double, bubble trouble. Your wiener will be mine," or whatever. Like, who's thinking of this? And they're like, "Well, I don't think that's been done," and then they do it. You know, it's crazy. It's weird that like feet are in thumbnails now. I don't like that. You know, because I feel like because it's gotten normalized, I've been kind of getting into it. Not cool. I mean, it doesn't matter, but like, I don't know. Like, I was reading a porn comic the other day that had like Spider-Man getting jerked off by someone's feet, Spider-Woman, I think, and I splooshed, and I was like, "Whoa, what is going on? Is this a new thing?" And then like some animated stuff with feet was getting me going. I was like, "Oh, this is kind of a new thing." I don't know. Is it just because it's like the dirty thing on the bottom of your foot? Because I've been saying for years that I think armpits are going to be the new norm. You know, because Japanese porn, they've been licking armpits for ages, man, ages. Surely anything with a crevice, you can just put a wiener in there. You know, it's not that hard. Maybe it will be. Yeah. I used to steal a lot of things when I was a kid. I think one year I dressed up as a robber for Halloween, and I just got off on like stealing stuff, and I could get away with it that day because I was the robber. But then I just kept doing it, and I remember we would all go outside for recess, but it would get to like minus 40 degrees Celsius where I'm from. You know, if I go outside, my hairs would literally turn into icicles. And we all did that thing as a kid where you put your tongue on the pole, and then you wait for it to get stuck, and then somebody hits you off until your tongue skin just rips off your body. It's sick. I would wait behind this door when everyone would go outside, and I would like put people notes in people's desks. And they try to be figuring out who it is, you know, because I'd wait behind the door when everyone came back in, then I'd join the crowd. I would steal Yu-Gi-Oh cards from people's desks and trade them for Pokemon cards in the recess. Like, I was hustling. I was in detention all the time. Yeah, I was crazy. I was such a bad kid. Like, I think I was always a nice kid, but bad, you know. Um, I had all these Pokemon toys. I had original Pokemon balls. I had original like Pokedex, like all this original Pokemon toys. And because I had two friends in 7th grade that told me that I was uh, that I was immature, and I threw them all out. I threw out all my Pokemon toys. But then, as an adult, I said, "Fuck it. Let me take out my Pokemon cards and study and read 15 hours of rules and have some Poke battles." And then me and my friends, Jared, just like played so many Pokemon card battles as an adult. We got so into it, like, Blastoise, go! Like, energy card. Yeah, get screwed, you nerd. It was awesome. Yeah, I love Pokemon, dude. Until I was 17. And I always loved the show, right? But never watched it consistently. When I was 17 years old and I was in university, so I had all this free time because I didn't do any studying, I was just like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to start watching Pokemon. I watched 150 episodes of Pokemon. Because the first season has 151. I didn't know at that time that Ash never wins the Pokemon League. I guess he did in recent years. I went through so many episodes of Pokemon, of them being in the forest, losing Pikachu to Team Rocket just to get him at the end of the episode. Like, Pikachu! I'm so happy I got you! Ash just being a shit Pokemon trainer. Half the badges he gets, they just feel bad for him. And they give him the badge at the end of the episode. Or he just stopped Team Rocket from stealing their Pokemons. But when he gets to the Pokemon League, it was getting so hyped up. The Pokemon League, after 150 episodes, the music was going. Dun, 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 and people were getting hyped. He's like, oh my god, Pikachu's like level 1000. He's gonna kill everybody. Sorry, make them faint. It was so hype. And it lived up to the expectations. The first one, he goes, Charmander's getting pulled out. Boom. This guy, that other one. The other Pokemons that he had for episodes past that he's like, you know what, I'm going to pull out this because I'm going to be a good trainer now. He makes it to the semifinals. All the battles were epic. And then because Pikachu got too messed up by Team Rocket, at the beginning of this episode, he puts out Charizard. He's like, Charizard, listen, man, you're against a Charmander. All you have to do is step on him and you win. And in episode 150 of a Pokemon Kanto series, Charizard falls asleep, and for some reason, not a Pokemon rule I've ever heard, they disqualify Ash from the Pokemon League. What the fuck are you talking about? Disqualification for Charizard falling asleep. I've never been so mad at my life on a TV show. The last episode of the season is called Friends Forever. I was like, no, we're not. And I've never watched Pokemon ever again. God, man. Oh, so sour. I'm still so sour, man. Oh, the Pokemon series. Like, there were so many good episodes. No, I wrote down here, I wrote cigarette wrappers. Oh yeah, actually before that, you ever see the you ever see the Pokemon Instagram videos that are to do with like sexy Pokemon? I don't know why this is half my algorithm. You know, you'll have Batman, he's tied up, and he's like, "What are you doing, Joker?" And Joker's just like, "Oh, this is oh shit, I forget the name of the hot ones." Of the hot ones. I'll say he's like Joker. What are you doing? He's like, this is an Eevee, Batman. It's a special Eevee. Don't you see? He's just mine. He's like, no, Batman. He's like, Joker, what are you doing? He's like, you know exactly what I'm doing, Batman. And then they just go and have sex with the Pokemon. This took a weird turn. This took a really weird turn. I don't know why this is a lot of my feed, man. I guess I watch them. I don't know why. I went to I was walking in the street one time and I saw these guys having a One Piece card game competition. And so I went to the back and I was like, hey, can I just sit down with you guys? And none of them make eye contact with me because they've never done that before. And they're just like, oh, yeah, sure. Okay. You know, they've never shaved their mustaches before. They all got the peach fuzz. Not very showered, folks. And out of all the 30 guys playing their One Piece, and on every card, there's just girls with big boobs. You know? Just these busty ladies. And there's just one lady of all the 30 guys who also has a low cut top and big boobs. It's kind of genius on her part. Like, if she just enjoys the game, like, why wouldn't you just go get some attention? You know? What an interesting fetish of, like, hot girls going for nerdy guys that, like, every nerdy guy wants, you know? But they have to be the one to make the move because the guy never will. That's the whole thing with, like, oh, nice guys don't get girls. It's this that nice guys, like myself, never make a move. I never know if anybody's flirting. I never make a move, and I just love people, and I just like hanging out with people. I like, I like, if not love, almost every human I've met in the last 10 years. I've just liked, I think, 3 people in the last 3 years. I haven't hated anybody in like 12 or 13. Like, it's just, I'm wired this way. But, oh yeah, when it comes to like just people like with flirting, I'm not like a dick forward thinking kind of guy. I just love you as a person. So I just want to be friends. But of course, I'd love to have sex or whatever. So I think like the nice guy mentality is just that we're treating you as a human and not as a piece of meat. And sometimes girls are like, I hate assholes. Oh my god, you're such an asshole. But like, that's the guys that are making the moves. So there's this weird kind of dynamic. We're at a bar situation. I think that's what they're gonna go for, because they know that they'll just like be more, not necessarily aggressive, although they might want that, but forward in their moves. Yeah. It's so funny to me on cigarette wrappers how they just have like the most extreme version of what a cigarette can do. you know, it's always just like some guy with his throat wide open, like, I haven't smoked my whole life. You don't smoke. I'm over here in Europe or in Asia, and I'm seeing all these kids smoking. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. They all old people seem fine. I haven't seen one person with one of those holes in the neck in Asia, and they all live to 1,000. You know, it's fine. Maybe smoking is just okay. Maybe it's just overhyped. Yeah, I just love everyone, man. I've only tried to pick 2 fights in my whole life. Yeah, I've tried to pick 2 fights before, and they're for really good reasons. Like, my friends had gotten jumped, and this whole thing. And one of them was just some guy who I was really disrespectful towards girls and that. But trying to pick fights for me is like, a dog trying not to lick his nuts. It's just impossible, man. Like, I immediately am just somehow connecting about something and just bro shaking like, life though, right? It sucks that you're a shit person, but I love you. I don't know, maybe it's an upside of being a golden retriever person, but it's definitely so easy for people to take advantage of my emotions and of me, I think. Yeah. But I was not part of a fight. I guess I was still de-escalating, but my friend, who's a doctor now, actually got in a fight once with me there, and over some other guy was instigating it. And the whole time I'm just like, we don't gotta do this, man. We don't gotta do this. And then, they start going at it, and the other guy just loved to fight. And he was with me, and I was just like, hey, man, listen, like, I'll jump in, but you can't touch it. It's one-on-one. Let them do their thing. But if he jumps in, I have to jump in. I don't know. How do I attack him? With kisses? No, stop. No, you can't. Don't hit me. Like, I don't want to fight. I just want to love. Yeah. I've had 21 jobs. That's so many jobs, man. My first real job was working at Tim Hortons, the Canadian coffee shop. And this place was real wacky, you know? Our boss, she was gay, and she would have these like lesbian makeout sessions in the office with one of the workers during work. And everyone's just like, what do we do? What can you do about it? And I was 16, and I used to whack off like 5 times, 6 times a day. Like, I used to whack off until my wiener blistered. and I would keep going and like just use these bottles of cream and just like, oh man, just mess up my wiener so much. I was so horny. And so at work, I'd often just be hard in my pants. And my pants were very tight at this Tim Hortons. Way too tight. I had a size too small. And so this guy just points it out. This really funny dude I used to work with. And he started calling me camel cock. And I do not have a big ween, but I was just literally hard. And just trying to put it in the side of my pants, so you could just see it. And he drew a camel inside of my tip cup that my bosses all see and made a little wiener that goes up and down inside of it. And wrote Corey Camel on it. And they let me have that for like a year. And every year for my birthday, for probably 5 years or something, he would post some sort of camel-oriented meme on my Facebook wall. It was so freaking funny, man. This guy was a goober. This guy was awesome. Yeah, they used to tell crazy stories at this Tim Hortons. Like, this one guy, I'm from a really small town. I'm from a village of 100 people. This is the next town, like 25 minutes away. It has like no people still, right? And this one guy was talking about some parties he would go to and how this one lady would be in a room and she would be getting fucked by all these different guys, like in a lineup, and how they'd all come inside of her. And then the last guy would go and eat her out. I don't know if they're true. There was this other one, this story that I heard from this guy at Tim Hortons, where this lady wanted to be dirty talked. And it was this really conservative, type kid. And he was just like, a teenager, whatever. And he was like, yeah? He was like, yeah, talk dirty to me. He's like, yeah, you retard. What an idiot. And then there was one, he was just like, yeah, my friend, he was having sex with his girl, and she said, punch me in the face. And he was like, what? No, I'm not going to punch you in the face. He was like, yeah, punch me in the face, pussy. She's like, no, I'm not going to punch you. He's like, punch me. And she just, boom, knocks her right out. He's literally inside of her, knocks her out, and finishes. He's like, oh, I guess I found a new kink. See you later. Yeah, they can't be true. But this is the place I was working at, like, they were so wild. One time, I did smoke weed while working at Tim Hortons because everybody was. It's like at night, all the guys are smoking weed in the back, behind the drive-through. We're all smoking out of like I think I smoked out of an apple. Made a pipe out of an apple. One guy was smoking out of a can. I'd only smoked weed like 4 times in my life. So we're all really high. And all you hear on our headset is bing. We look around at the other person's car. There's also 2 people smoking weed. We look at the other car. There's also a person smoking weed. We're like, oh, no one's in the building. And so you just see the car waiting. And we're all just like, oh, shit. So I start running out because I'm the young guy. He's like, go, my supervisor, who's like, I was smoking with. And I'm just like, hey, can I take your order? As I like run by their car and they see me run inside. And they're like, yeah, I can have a coffee, medium double, and a bagel with herb and garlic cream cheese, bacon, and chipotle sauce. I'm like, yeah, sure. Is that whatever? And I'm high and I'm trying to do everything. And then I come in and there was one guy in there, and this guy that I went to school with. And I just forgot he was here. And he's also high, and he's making, putting chipotle sauce very delicately on these little pieces of bacon and eating them, and just has his headset here, but just couldn't be bothered with taking care of the drive-thru. Only guy who was inside just eating bacon, just. What a little rascal, man. Those are some times. My other boss at that place, she had gotten coffee thrown in her face because of an angry customer. That's wild. She had like all these 3rd-degree burns, or whatever degree that would be. The bad degree. The worst, all the degrees. I remember one time, there was a guy who would, there's some guys who have been at Tim Hortons for years, and one guy had gotten talking to. These guys have been at Tim Hortons for years. One of these guys had gotten spoken to badly and very disrespectfully from a customer. And so this other guy who had also been there forever went up to him and was like, "Hey, no problem, great, I'll make your coffee. Don't worry about it." And then goes out back and goes. They had been smoking for 40 years, just big black spit. Stirs it, shows everyone. Goes out, hands him the cup of coffee. Have a great day. The next day, the same guy comes back. He was like, the only coffee that's ever been made right here was yesterday, and I want him to make it again. my buddy was just like, sure thing. Well, let that be a lesson, guys. Don't be disrespectful at drive-thrus, because they will do stuff. Yeah. Yeah. That was gross. Yeah, people would have sex in the freezer. Just during work, just having sex in the freezer. Yeah, they did all kinds of stuff with that one. I worked at another Tim Hortons where I worked overnight, and I would make these big sandwiches that are probably worth like $20 if you really like bought all the things, and I paid, I think, like 70 cents for the bagel or whatever it was. Oh, that was unreal. Yeah, Tim Hortons was not a bad job, honestly. Yeah, I had like these 4 jobs at the same time. So I was working that Tim Hortons overnight. I was working as a doughboy in a Pizza Delight where I just made dough. I told this girl one time that I was working with, a waitress, and she was like, "So what do you like do here?" I was like, I make the dough." She's like, "Just dough? Dough?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, oh. It's funny how some brains just are firing at no cylinders, eh? Oh man. Yeah, and I was working at the liquor store. My friends would just come over, and we would try everything at the liquor store. So like when there's a growler, it's all these like little beer bits, right? All these different beers on tap, and then they had like hard alcohol in the back, whatever. We just drank at work every day. It's for the government, man. And people would come in, and they would, uh, my friends would be like, "Oh, like what's good today?" I'm like, "Well, how about you try these 7 things?" And they would always leave with a buzz. It was awesome. Then the other one I had was I was working at a gym for the school, and I would, out of the 7-hour, 8-hour shift, like if I started at 6 a.m. and it was on the weekend, I would be often partying the night before. And so I only slept maybe a few hours. So I get there, I'd unlock the door, and then I'd leave the desk unattended, go into the shower, jerk off, and take a nap. And then I wake up a few hours later, go back to the desk, and that was a good day's work. Yeah, I was biking to all these places, so like my sleep was all over the place. I was living in a party house, so I could barely sleep. I used to put a shirt around my face just to be able to get some sleep. And because I was biking to all these places and I wasn't used to biking, my calves would seize up, and I kept having all these, my calves locking up all the time, and I'd wake up like yelling sometimes. And one time I was biking down this hill, and my calves locked up, and I like just went to the side, kind of fell over really slowly, and then this old Asian lady was there, and she's like, "Are you okay?" I was just like, "Oh yeah, just kick my leg the other way. I can't." She's like, kick your leg." I was like, "Yeah, kick my leg, kick my leg." She's like just giving it little nudges, and she's like, "Is that better?" I was like, "Yeah, all better. Thank you, thank you." Yeah, and she leaves, just put my leg back. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. Yeah, I'm not a big biker. Yeah, I biked this 1,000-meter mountain in New Zealand, and I think that's one of the only times I've really held on to stress during doing that trail, because just going down is scary, man. Going down on a bike on a 1,000-meter mountain, every little turn, every bump, just and then like trying to go slower, and then if you go too slow, then you're gonna fall to the side, and there's people behind you, and just it's crazy. I don't need that in my life. I just want to walk or bike on some flat pave. Is that all right? That's it. That's all I want. My Crocs are smooth underneath because I walked, I think it was 32 or 38K on flat pave one time. It was lovely. I liked it. Yeah, I don't need no crazy high, I don't know, adrenaline-y type experience. Although flying in a squirrel suit would be sick. Because that's probably the closest you can really get to flying, unless you're doing one of those drone suits. But that's obviously expensive. But flying in a squirrel suit would be awesome, you know? Because with a squirrel suit, you could come out of a plane or jump off a mountain, and then anytime you want to turn, you're with the birds. You are a bird. Like you're just. I guess you're a squirrel. Oh man, squirrel suiting would be so sick. Going in the cities, just grabbing someone's sandwich when you go by. You're just going at 100 kilometers an hour in a squirrel suit, just going through the city, just like, and people just look by, and then you see someone has a sandwich in their hand. You're just like, just all smooth, like, They're like, it's squirrel suit man. Thank you, squirrel suit man. Please steal my sandwich tomorrow. Or maybe you do some good deeds. I don't fucking know. Man, being a flying squirrel would be tight. Yeah, maybe I do want to do some adrenaline-y things. Well, skydiving was sick. I did skydiving twice. Skydiving's awesome. I do love skydiving. Yeah. The first time, when you skydive as a tandem jump, your first time, like, you don't just jump out, like you do in Family Guy. Where I just remembered seeing, like, Family Guy right before that, where Peter's, like, jumping out of the plane. He's like, I'm walking on sunshine. And he, like, jumps out of the plane, right? And it's just all chill. But here you had to do it, like, with some dude, and you just slowly go to the side of the plane. And then you go to the little edge, and he's like, all right, let yourself fall out sideways on your knees, attached to this dude's bum. I'm like, oh wait, I guess he's attached to your bum. And yeah, you let yourself fall, and then you do these little barrel rolls, like 3 of them, and you stabilize with a stabilizing chute, and then you free fall. The barrel rolls were terrifying. The first time I did it, I was like scared, adrenaline, and then the free fall was so fun. And then the parachute was super chill. And then the second time I did it, I had no adrenaline at all and was just vibing. I was like, oh, I could just fall all day. This is great. This is just fun, But still, that first bit to, like, let yourself fall out is scary. It did give me, like, a little heart race the second time as well, actually. Yeah. Overnight Tim Hortons, sandwiches, sleep jerk. Yeah. Oh yeah, I worked at another gym. Because I'm only on, what is this, job like 7 or something. I've had so many jobs. I worked at another gym. There's this big chain in Canada. And because the other guy refused to work on Sundays, they would still schedule him, but they didn't want to argue with his religious reasons. So he would read the Bible, and I would sleep on the ground. Because we were working out of a camper van before the gym was actually opened. And I would go to do these outreach things where you're supposed to try to get more memberships, and I would just sleep in my car. Yeah. That was honestly a fine job. It's just kind of like salesy, I just thought it was so funny that he could just be like, nah, I'm going to read the Bible. And he was, to be fair. And he would just get paid for 8 hours and for not doing anything. And they wouldn't say much to me because, like, he wasn't working either. It was quite strange. Yeah. I worked as a Rogers salesman door to door for half a day, and I was the only one that wore a suit. I was just like, "Have you heard the good word of Rogers?" Yeah, that was that was a pretty strange one. Jehovah's Witnesses are so interesting. Like, what are they witnessing? I feel like they're seeing the same stuff we're seeing. Am I not witnessing the same world? I don't like that everyone like hates on them. I mean, do you know how much hate they must receive? How much like how many people that must be so annoyed and rude to Jehovah's Witness when they go to their doors? Like, just be nice to them, man. Just say no, thank you. You know? Do you know how many people in the streets here in Vietnam offer me uh, prostitutes, coke, and weed? It's all the time. And then forget just selling you regular stuff. It's constantly. They're like showing me ladies sucking wieners, and I'm like, no, thank you, and I just walk away. You know, it's fine. Just don't gotta be so rude. They're just hustling, man. I gotta respect the hustle. So I think like I used to look at gold digging as such a different, it's such like an inherently negative thing, and hey, and now I look at these like young Filipino ladies and you know going with these old white men, and I'm thinking, well, if it's out of necessity, it's out of some sort of poverty, and that's what they're trying to do, then then who am I to say that they're not going to find real love in it or whatever? Who am I to judge? Because back in the day, we had to hunt tigers and try to, back in the day, we had to avoid tigers and hunt boars to survive. And men had to be real men. We had to, just hunt. Oh, woman. Oh, bear. Everything was. They weren't sitting around like, I'm sad, so I guess I'll feel my feelings because that's what's healthy. you know, that's a privilege. And just because they had to hunt tigers, and now Filipino ladies have to hunt old men. you know, it's just survival. It's okay. Maybe the guys will learn to be soft after the hunt, and the Filipinos will learn to love them afterwards too. I don't know. Who am I to say, man? Yeah. Uh, I used to work a government job, and it was very corporate. And so these ladies that I worked with, it was mostly 40-year-old like business ladies that I worked with at this government job. And one lady told me once, she's like, Mondays, right? I was like, oh, it was just like Office Space. Oh, I had to mute the all like I think pretty much every week I muted the meetings. I couldn't do it. I couldn't listen to that corporate speech. I was at a corporate meeting one time where they got a new email font and people clapped. They clapped for an email font. What kind of brain do you have to clap for an email? Do you not love the sun and excitement in life? Do you not love anything other than just this corporate world? I can't do it. I couldn't do it. Oh, I don't think I'm a corporate guy. I used to work as a small business advisor at a bank, and I'd wear a tie. I was having literally panic attacks every day because I just couldn't handle like the corporate environment, and felt like I was being choked wearing a tie. I feel like I had a quarter life crisis, after this job because I was just like, oh, I took business and philosophy. Like, why? Like, I'm just in this job that on paper is great, but I don't like, and I don't want to get trapped, and you know. And then when I left there, I went to work at a silver and lead refinery, um, where it was owned by this company, Glencore, that I think the founder was on America's 10 Most Top Wanted or something, where he like raided these villages and for their resources, and then they didn't even have the resources, so he killed all these people for nothing. Something crazy like that. And when this German company owned the smelter, they would hide cameras from WorkSafe New Brunswick, the safety company in my province, when somebody would get hurt. It was like feminism in a sense, the smelter, because how feminism was such a positive thing for so long, and still is, like, as a concept, but then obviously, like, in history you often have to have the extremes, then average out to the middle where something makes sense and it's actual equality and not like man hating, right? So it's kind of like that at the smelter, where the union would always fight the staff and they got everything they wanted, and then it went way the other way where the staff was just completely in charge, um, to the point where I was sitting down one time because I worked in a job where you only work 25 minutes every 2 hours, because I was scooping 900-degree metals out of a big cauldron, and I looked like a big potato, and my respirators would literally melt off my face. So you just come out of there like, so you had to take a rest, right? And people have died at this place. It was wild. And my boss would come in, and one time I wasn't sitting up straight because you're like, you're sweaty and you're tired, and I didn't sit up when he came in. This is in recent times. We're not in the 60s, And he looks at me and he's just like, when I come in the room, you sit up and look at me straight, because I am up here and you are down there. Buddy, we're all just scooping some metals and stuff, Settle down. It's a crazy place. It's a really crazy place. Yeah. What jobs have I had? I yeah, I worked at another office in New Zealand for Health NZ. I'll say that company, who cares? And I was reimbursing young doctors for expenses, like very much not a backpacking job. And I'm in this office, and I used this coffee cup. I use this coffee cup every day for a week. And unbeknownst to me, a man comes in one day and he's like, "That's my cup." Into my little corner where I'm just clicking buttons and watching a stream on my phone and trying not to pay attention to anything. And he takes my cup with the coffee in it. And he walks away. And I start laughing. I'm like, this is the most action I've had this whole job. This is awesome. The coffee's free. But what if I had paid for it? Like, that's a crazy thing to do. Just take someone's coffee cup all upset. And I've been using it all week, so clearly he's not guarding his cup. And so I immediately go right next to him where he's making a new coffee. I was just like, "Hey, buddy, so yeah, that's kind of crazy that that's your cup, because I've been using it all week." He just kind of side eyes me. He's like, "Everyone knows I've been here long enough. They know that's my cup." I asked around. No one knew. But best yet, because it's all these kind of middle-aged ladies that work at these sorts of jobs, I come back and the HR lady, really sweet, but she's like, "Hey, so I saw what happened. Are you okay?" I was like, "Well, I think actually I'm pretty hurt. I'm probably gonna have to go take a break in that little room downstairs that has the bean bags." It was quite emotionally distressing when he took my coffee cup. It was my favorite cup. It might have been his, but I had adopted it. you know, what a crazy environment, man. I'm not made for these kind of corporate people. I was in the lunchroom one day, and with all like my work friends, and they're all ladies, all around 40 or something. And I'm in the lunchroom with them, and this one lady was talking about how when her sister was in the hospital recently, how the person next to her It jumps out the window of the hospital room and kills himself. And everyone's just like, oh my god, that's so terrible. And I'm just like, and she's like, it's okay, Corey, you can laugh. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm so messed up. It was so dark, I just wasn't expecting it. Oh god.
Bleep.
Oh man. Oh, I'm gonna have to bleep that. Unlived. LOL. YouTube, man. Oh yeah, that was a job. Yeah, the smelter too. We went on a strike, and then I also went on 2 other strikes. I've been part of 3 strikes. I gotta say, unpopular opinion, strikes are awesome. Okay, I've had a great time on all of my strikes. When I striked at the smelter, I would only do 1 shift every 2 weeks for 16 hours. The shift was just sitting around with my dad, hanging out. He hooked up his laptop to his car and we watched Spider-Man. And sometimes I waved the flag, like in the 2 cars an hour that came by. We'd be like, "Hey, we're striking," you know. And I would sleep for half of it, and then the other 2, and then we got like a fairly okay wage. And then I would work a job, and then I was making the same money I was making at the smelter. I was like, "Ah, this is. I wish the strike would go on forever." I striked at my government job. Yeah, a couple weeks off. I think we got full pay or something. And then, because we had like a strike pay that you pay into, in case it happens. And then I had another strike at school. And I was 17. I was taking business, and they didn't care at all if we learned any of the curriculum. They're like, we know this is BS. Like all the science kids I know in my first year of uni, when the strike happened, they all had to catch up on all the stuff that they had missed in those weeks, and they were all stressed out when they came back. They were just, for us, they were just like, oh, we'll just skip these chapters. They're like, organizational behavior of, nah, who cares? Just write down some numbers, you'll be fine. It was a joke. It was a joke. So we just partied, and it was fun. I think at that time, all I wanted to do was watch Pokémon and party, so it worked out great. I love striking, man. Strikes are sick. Yeah. Landscaping was really cool. I loved just actually being in the dirt and planting something and seeing it grow. That was really lovely. Because I had a friend who, she still worked there later on, and she would send me all the pictures of all like the roses to be pruned and all the stuff that we'd planted growing. And I got a rose thorn in my finger one time. And apparently you gotta take it out because it can get infected. That is the most I've ever screamed on anything, man. That is the most painful. Like, my friend had taken these tweezers and went inside and just the whole time just losing it, man. That was, why is it that the tiny little bits of your fingers just cause the most pain? Oh god. Like, I have a friend who's been through war, and one time he had like an issue in his nail, and he said that was the most painful experience of his life. I guess it's because this is the little baby skin that doesn't. This is why we got little hard things, because this little baby skin doesn't get any kind of protection from the world. Yeah, it's weird that we have nails, isn't it? Nails are super strange. Like, biologically, why do we have them? Just to scratch people. Because otherwise, I can still eat. I can still grab stuff. I don't need to dig my nails into things. Is it just for us to have nice scratchies? What is the purpose other than making the skin underneath just really sensitive? You ever see those ladies who have like the Guinness World Record for the longest nails? They're just like wrapped around their whole body, and they're walking around like just some Some creature. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I guess I'll just end it there. For any of you that have listened this far, thank you so much, guys. Drop a sub, drop a like, do whatever you want. I love you. Stay gay, stay cool. Bye bye.
Go on the tube and like and subscribe so I can survive.